What is the win on Sunday in the fashion that you guys won? What does that show and say about this team?
It's good. Bills are we're a really good team. So to be able to come out and kind of click on all cylinders, it's good. I think Kyle Hamilton said a really interesting quote last week. It was, let's win, but let's get better while we're doing it. And obviously, we got the Dallas win. The end wasn't the prettiest, and that's the thing. You want to. It's always better to win a game and continue to get better and fix the mistakes than to lose a game and fix those mistakes. So it was good to kind of put some of those pieces together and kind of have a statement win.
Marlon, you've seen plenty of Joe Burrow. You've seen plenty of these receivers. What does it take? What does it take to beat them?
The biggest thing is, it's Joe Burrow and the receivers. If you can, you got to win those matchups. I think, the biggest, task this week defensively will be, our DBs versus their wide receivers. I think it's a tough task, but that's the biggest thing. Joe Burrow is, a top quarterback in this league. Obviously, when he gets going, as we said in the defense, he's kind of surgical when he gets going. So if you can whatever you can with different looks, with tight coverage, whatever way. But the biggest thing is you got to win those matchups on the outside.
Lamar talked about how it was kind of a different conversation around town 2 weeks ago, than it is now after coming off of 2 straight wins. How do you handle the ups and downs of a season and avoid, as a veteran player on this team, getting too high or too low?
Yeah, for us it was interesting. Usually, you win, you lose 2 around here, it usually gets a little funky. But I think the biggest thing that I noticed that I thought was unique, as you try to dig into, you've lost 2 straight, kind of what's going on. When you looked at things, it was very simple things that were kind of being the problem. So it was, I like that we didn't really freak out. We kind of were like, we're doing some good things in practice. We're doing some really good things in games. We just got to get these select few plays better. So we kind of just stayed the same course. We didn't hit the panic button. Now we'd have lost 3 straight. I don't know how that would have been, but luckily we're good. So we kind of just kept doing what we were doing. I think we all felt that we were at least working towards doing the right things. There was just some small kinks that kind of needed to get fixed.
What's it mean to get Arthur Maulet back on the field, and what do you feel like it could mean for you? You've been playing a fair amount of nickel.
Yeah, I think Art, obviously, he had before injury, I think he was having one of the best camps on the team. He was looking really, really good in nickel. Obviously, what he can do at the inside nickel position, super scrappy guy, blitzing, all the different things. So I think it just adds to what we're doing. As far as who's playing nickel, who can play nickel, we can, it just adds another package. That's adding a guy like Art is always a good thing.
Marlon, what about your own play? I mean, there was much made last year. You weren't healthy for most, if not all, the year. Graded out well this year by all accounts. How do you think you're playing, and you kind of feel like you're back to being yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I feel good. I think, it's a lot more fun, just being able to just go out there and just play ball, not really worry about anything else you got going on. So I feel like I've been doing well on the field. I'm just trying to just keep, control what I can control. As far as in the secondary, I'm not a huge fan of how we kind of graded out as far as in passing yards. So that I feel like that kind of falls on me as a leader of the team and of the secondary. So that's there's definitely more to do, but I think we were on a good path this past Sunday. So I hope we can just continue on that path.
Was there an added emphasis on physicality going into that game?
We started off the meeting last week talking about one of our coaches. I'm not going to say who, but basically he was saying he wasn't saying we're not physical enough, but he wasn't talking necessarily directly to me, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna play like Rowe this game. So that's kind of what I took from it. Not everyone can play like Rowe. It's basically I want to say almost impossible, but I attempted to play a little more like Rowe. getting in there on some of the stuff. So I felt everybody we definitely took his message, which was on like Tuesday, and it seemed like we kind of took it to Sunday. So he needs that message again, and we need to play like that again. So, yeah.
Marlon, after this game, you got a couple NFC teams coming up, and with Lamar and his style of play, if you don't see him very often, how difficult is it, do you think, as a defensive player, would it be to face him if you're not very familiar with kind of his style of play?
Yeah, it looks rough to face him. I think, honestly, as I went to go sack Josh Allen and I had a wide open lane and I could not sack him, I realized Lamar is probably that hard to tackle or harder. And then I thought to myself, like, if I was a DB and I saw a pass rusher about to sack the quarterback and then he didn't and then I had to cover more, I'd be really upset. So basically, to answer that question, I would be very upset with the pass rushers on my team if I was playing against Lamar. But it's very difficult. I know it's got to be very difficult. But how you face him, how you stop him, I think that's still trying to be figured out. So I couldn't give a valid answer, but I know there's a lot of frustration.
Marlon, along those lines, you faced Derrick Henry when he was in Tennessee at the end of the season. He's usually a lot better at the end of the season than he is at the start. To see him have this kind of start right now, I guess just kind of more philosophically, why is it so much tougher to stop Derrick at the end of the season than at the start? And what does it say about where he is right now that he's off to this great performance?
Yeah, he just I've since he's been back, I've been at his house around his family quite a bit, and this dude is like his detail to what he's eating, his detail to what he's putting into his body, detail to what he's doing it's almost, I would say it's almost obsessive, but it's very normal to him. His family is in tune with it. It's not to put his business out there, but he makes his dad do some of the recovery stuff with him. So it's like, I'm at his house and we're doing different things. And so it makes a lot of sense. I feel like as much attention to detail he puts into his body, he's able to be just as fresh at the beginning of the season as he is at the end, while most guys, that's just a hard task to do. So obviously in a game, he's stronger in the third and fourth quarter than he is the first and second quarter. And I think, it's just a testament to just true discipline. It's one thing to hear about it in the the statements you see from stuff, but it's one thing for him to tell you about it. But then you go to his house and you're just like, this dude is like, he means what he says. He's just an all-time pro. There's no other. There's kind of second to none in that aspect. So that's what I would say is just a testament to hard work and discipline.
So when you're at his house, do you follow the same diet, or are you on that plan?
I will say I got to put a little stuff on my food. Like, I got to get a little, I'm a sauce guy. He's just bland. He don't need none of that. He just does what he does. And I got to put a little, some ketchup here, some barbecue there, some ranch. And, he's disciplined. He's disciplined.
Marlon, defensively, teams had 2 wins. Pass rush has been successful. It just seems like the pass defense and allowing yardage is not where you would want it to be, as you mentioned. And just what's kind of the thought process and discussions in the secondary room right now?
With kind of going into last week, what the message I told the guys before we went out on the field was just to play fast. I think sometimes, thinking, even when you're thinking right, when you get out there, you think during the week, and then Sunday you play. So that's the biggest thing. There wasn't, and it kind of goes back to just tiny little bitty things. I think with the defense, if you watch offensively, very rarely are all 11 guys doing exactly what they're supposed to do, exactly in the right spot. And the bad part is when you get exploited, it's the one person that's doing the wrong thing. It's the one person that's doing the wrong thing. And even if you're not necessarily wrong, just a little bit off. So you just got to be on one accord in the way you move, especially in the secondary, from the communication and everything. So Ed Reed left a message on our whiteboard. I noticed it first, but just so y'all know. But he just wrote something on the whiteboard, and it was just talking about communication. And he just wrote 20. So I was like, that's kind of cool. You know that's Ed Reed, but, I wonder if I wrote 44, what people know. But so it was, he left a message, just communication. That's the biggest thing for a secondary. Communication. And it's not that we were doing a bad job of it, but it wasn't perfect. And then the secondary, the communication's got to be perfect in order for the play to be good.
When did he leave that message?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, honestly, we might have missed it. I mean, he kind of put it. It wasn't like just right there in the open. It was kind of. I'm not gonna say it was. It was kind of. I'm not gonna say it was hidden, but you really wouldn't have noticed it if you weren't really looking. And so I don't have no idea when he came here and put it up there, but we saw it, and it's definitely gonna stay on that board for the rest of the year.
When did you see it?
I think I saw it. I don't know when I saw it, actually. It was this past week or this week. I have no idea when I saw it, but I feel like when I said something, people still didn't see it. And then we pointed to it again today. And then I think people actually saw it. So maybe I didn't even – and the Sharpie, it was red. It blended in. We see it. We got it. We got the message. So the hidden message is there, and that's kind of what we're trying to work on.
Marlon, you obviously go against them in practice every day, but having a backfield that has the explosiveness and the speed between Justice and Derek, just as a defense, how challenging is that to go up against, and how does that challenge you guys?
You know, the camp days are over, so there's not a lot of hitting Derek and Justice as much. So we don't like the those days were tough hitting them in camp. So it's still tough, but obviously we're not banging as much as we were in camp. So. But it's still difficult, man. When it's a scary feeling when you see Pat and then a little bit taller over is Derek. So that's not the best look when I'm getting that and it's coming towards me. I'm hoping Rowe's coming soon. So it's tough. It's really good work. I see the nightmares that kind of teams face, and because we see it a lot in practice.
How much have you seen Zach Orr, or maybe not seen but felt Zach Orr kind of settle into his role as defensive coordinator over the past 4 weeks?
It seemed like the Dallas game, aside from the apocalypse at the end, seemed like he really got pretty comfortable with his play calling, with really the confidence in the plays he was calling, knowing things were going to work. Just today, he said he almost missed practice because he was watching too much film. He said he took off running out of the hallway. The janitors thought he might have been crazy because he was running so fast to get out here. But he's a film junkie, obviously, which you want your DC to be. So. But I felt Dallas game in that third quarter. I was hearing the confidence in his voice, making sure we understood things. It seemed like things kind of clicked in that during that game.
Well, did you take any motivation this summer or going into the season about anything said or written about you know, the injuries that did not play up to standards? People maybe not thinking that you were still, you know, that guy at that level, or you just kind of above all that?
I'm not a huge motivational guy based off others. But I did my biggest thing is it's really just hard for me to get too complacent just because I've always wanted to hold a Lombardi. That's like been my biggest thing, man. I've always wanted to do that. I don't want to finish this game and never hold one of those. So it's hard for me to really ever get too complacent, get too settled when I haven't done that. So that's kind of been my motivation. I feel like if you can have, you know, one of the best secondaries, one of the best corners, I feel like that's a really good stable piece to have in order to do that. So that's kind of been, I guess, my motivation to try to be at my best, so when the team needs me, when we're going on that streak, we're going on that run, you know, I can kind of be that for the team.
Do you think this is the deepest secondary you've ever been part of?
Yeah, we're pretty deep. I'm not gonna lie, we're pretty good. Our numbers do not show that though, so that is a problem. But we've got some skill. I think you know what Kyle's able to do, what Mark is able to do, B. Steve, Nate. You know, if he catches the ball, he's doing big things regardless. But you know, I don't even think people have really he's really even scratched the surface of what we've already seen him do in camp and everything. So I'm super excited for just all of us to just go out here and just keep making plays, communicating, and hopefully we can, you know, be get that number down from 32, because we're ranked last, I think, to some of the top 10. So that'd be great.